All good things must come to an end, and that is exactly what we do here today for LCR Season 8. For round 18 of our 18-round season arrives at what is without a doubt known as one of the most iconic season enders on the calendar. We're here at the Interlagos circuit here in Brazil for what sets to be a brilliant afternoon of action. And let's have a look at just a few minutes ago. We had a gripping and epic qualifying session, and here is your grid for it. So book your tickets for him. It's another pole position for BRL Sira, adds it to 11th on the season for him. But VSR GC makes it without a doubt a shocking front row start. The half starts from P2 and ultimately shatters the dreams of the Renault 1-2 that they had in mind, with Felipe in the end demoted to P3, but still strong from him with Doral Clone Troop right alongside him in P4. Row 3 is an all Mercedes row 3 as Amaze, who starts from 5th, looks to defend his third in the championship, 9 points clear of Tibble heading to this round, with VSR Dralex starting from P6 in the end. Row 4 consists of two men that are at that been a very much meh season for them, but I'm sure they hope to end it on a high. Boris was out qualifying John Pack for 7th and 8th. Row 5 is an all Red Bull row as Mulder out qualifying his teammate in Sims as they round out the top 10. That's how the top 10. Fresh choice of tyres begins with both McLarens, with LK ahead of Dylan, of course, the reserve Europe driver racing today as part of a big celebratory season end for the Europe division. The way get a chance to race in well, and it's the Europe champion who starts from 13th in LCR Astro, with Brad Aker's Venge starting from P14. Row 8 consists of the Toro Rosso Jolly and potentially his 99th and last league LCR start. LCR Apex starts from P16, and then looking back to row number 8 row number 8 in the end starts with the Williams of KJ and the second Toro Rosso of Suzuki. And at the back on row number 10, I keep getting the rows wrong, it's ERL Tibble in the Alfa Romeo. But I'm going to take a stop and a quick breather because we get ready for the start. And of course, voice for LCR Night, also meet the OG voice in F1, Ben. Ben, what a qualifying session.
I'm still speechless. I'm watching the Haas right now of BRC GC, and I'm still speechless about it. Sira, because it's Sira, set at 1 minute 7.3. And then GC comes along, sets at 7.4. I still... Look, I'm gonna get on with it, but I'm just completely speechless, okay, about it all. Good qualifying as well from Boris and John Papp. John Papp's actually best qualifying in the season in P8, at least to my knowledge anyway. And obviously KJ, Crescito and Timo are going to rocket through this field, but I'll pass it back over to you, Jack. Sira's in his pole position, and it's all down for you now.
Well, 17 different times we've been in this situation, but this one is a last hurrah. Champion already crowned. Brasilia hopes for glory. 5 red lights away. 3, 4, 5 red lights. And LCR Season 8 for the finale is off in Brazil. It's a good start there from GC. I have to say, good from Claude. You want to say around comes towards turn 1. GC's alongside Sira, downing inside he goes, and potentially might lead through the first centre X's. Clone Troop gets through as well to P3, might be on a P2 as well. Just about off Felipe's going to hold a P4, coming around towards turn 3. GC leads, Sira second, Clone Troop third. Felipe in 4th, Boris in 5th, and May's down to 6th, and Alex also down into P8 as well. The Red Bulls have dropped as Mulder's down to 19th, Sims up as P8 though, down towards turn 4, they come the first time, bit of a scramble there, Sims going to the outside line of Alex and for P7, but up towards the front, miraculously it's VSR GC leads, Birostir second, and WR Clone Troop in 3rd. Chaotic, you'd be having a laugh.
Well, Crescito has already had a good start, he's up at KJ's on the 13th. John Papp and Mulder came together. The former teammates came together. John Papp's got a little bit of damage to his front wing. Mulder's fine, but he's now right to the back of the field. Towards the front, GC leads. Sira second, Clone Troop third. Felipe 4th, Boris 5th, May 6th, Dralik 7th, 8th. Sims had a very good start on 2 places. Most positions gained has been KJ up 4, but to be fair, I'm not truly surprised by that one, as Crescito got very loose at the final corner. He's actually being challenged here by Jersey's Venge, or Brad, or the train. Don't know what you call him. And actually, he just got mullered by Timo actually on the outside. Brad tries to send it back in, but no, Timo goes through. So Crescito, Timo up to 15th and 16th, with Dylan Drums carrying his teammate LK.
Yeah, Europe so far putting a good start. Astra up to 11th and Dylan up to 9th. Interestingly, Astra went for the medium tyres outside top 10. Dylan went for the softs because both McLarens, they had the fresh choice of tyres, and they interestingly went for the same strategy. Of course, they're not really teammates because, of course, Dylan only here as a reserve filling in for, technically, Melanie. At the moment, we haven't really seen him in the past few weeks, but still, by the way, leads in the Rally Championship. Just a quick insight there to the different tiers that, of course, we have here in LCR. Plenty of action going across multiple different racing games, and potentially more soon as well. But what do I know? I'm just a mere commentator on the F1 games. But coming towards the end of lap 2, it's about to start lap 3, and GC's beginning to pull a gap away from Syrah. And we've said this all season, Ben, if you get Syrah in the lead, he's unstoppable, but you get in a bit of traffic, he does get a bit flustered.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's probably what GC's hoping for here. It's hoping to try and keep Syrah behind him just a bit further back. Felipe just ghosted through Clone Troop in the battle for 3rd place, but we'll gloss over that. Look a bit further back, KJ got himself past Jolly and up in P12.
Yeah, I think Jolly sort of gave him the fair end of game as well. I know Jolly's working on some new assists as well this week, so he's trying to do his best there. But also, probably thinking KJ is probably quicker at this stage of the race than the softs as well. But now KJ up to P12, of course. Not quite the flying start. Remember back at the USA that he had? He absolutely flew in the first few laps, but still he's slowly progressing up the field. As you mentioned at the end of the formation lap, you know, he might try and chop through the field a bit, and so far up to P12, keep his composure. He could in the next few laps as high as P9.
Oh, we'll see. See how far he can get. GC has pulled a 7/10 gap over Syrah. See just how it's worked.
Well, here comes Felipe on Clone Troop. The gap between Clone Troop and Syrah a second, but he's still got the advantage of the DRS activation. But now KJ gets past another person down the start and finish straight to get himself under P11 now. Astro he's now got past, so that should be interesting to see how he can get on now with just about 6/10 to LK ahead. But here comes Felipe down towards turn 4. He probably thought about an opportunity there, but sort of run out of road before you hit the braking zone. But the crucial thing I should probably mention for them is Boris is still there. He's only half a second behind, and this battle could entice him to be fancy himself for a podium position.
Well, amazingly, Boris has he's led more laps this season-ish than both Presidio and Tibor this year, Boris, which obviously was basically all Russia, but that's a very good achievement for Boris this season. Say he's obviously not won a race. I don't think he's even finished on the podium yet this season, has he? Obviously, in Mexico, he had a 10-second tyre penalty that ruined what was a potential P2.
Yeah, you are right. Highest finish of 4th coming at Russia. Even Mexico only managed 5th. Oh, hello. Syrah is getting close to GC here as he goes fast of all 10.5. Begins to pile the pressure onto the Haas going through the centre S's. That's a good switchback opportunity now come through towards turn 3. Here comes the Brazilian. Pops himself to the outside line. Flying down the third. 2 DRS strengths available. And straight away, as easy as you like, ERL Syrah takes back the lead. Business as usual, question mark?
Well, we'll see. Maybe we'll have a centre and a lazy. GC will take him back the next lap. Actually, in that case, it's the next corner. But don't know. Maybe we could just have a bit of a drawn-out centre and a lazy battle here.
I mean, I think the main thing they need to focus on is KJ gets past LK there in the P10. Also, John has got past Jolly, and now Tibble's going around the outside of him through a very long swooping section. The bank corner there at turn number 9, I think that is. And now, in the end, Tibble up into 14th as this little train continues here. But I think the important thing for Syrah and GC is they're pulling away from Clone Troop and Felipe behind. So I think early on, just make sure the battle's a two-way battle. As interestingly, the 2 Mercedes are going to swap positions here as Dralex now into P6, and Boris has gone deep at the centre S's, and that is going to present surely both of the Mercedes to get past. No, Boris has cut across the lanes, has gone off at turn 3, and that is disaster. He's still out of the wall at least, but look who's about to come up and fly past him. A man that's beyond the mediums as now this train comes up right up as now KJ gets past Dylan as well. Here comes John, flies past Amazed. And now we have a bit of a sort of calmness, whose peace has been restored, but I think that all stemmed from Boris ultimately cutting the centre S's.
Well, yeah, I think when he came back on, he kind of came back on a little bit in the way of Amazed. He came back on right in Amazed's traction zone. So Amazed put power down to respond as a way of responding. It was just natural instinct to press the power down, but because he had a car in his way, he also pressed the brake at the same time, locked his rears and spat it off. That's what it looked like to me anyway.
Yeah, now he's got to put some fighting on his hands. Currently now down in P12, of course, the talking point I'm sure you want to know. 9 points between himself and Tibble heading into this round. But here comes Felipe. One Renault got past a few laps ago for his rival. Now the other one has got past his. 1-3 again. And as you can see by the telemetry, we're back as we were for the top 4 now. Because Clone Troop's down to 4th, Felipe up to 3rd. And it was fairly easy in the end. Oh, there's a car off. That's Dylan at turn 1.
Yeah. And the grass on the inside. Casito gets another penalty. It's his second penalty already for Casito.
He got that. I think he got the centre S's there. I watched on the left-hand side.
As Mulder actually gets past Jolly up in the P14. Now Jolly has Casito behind him. They were wheeling from Jolly, actually. Potentially telling Casito just to go by, or...
I think that was a message to Mulder. I think that was Team LCR working together. Even though Mulder's actually not in Team LCR. I don't think Jolly knows anymore. It wouldn't surprise me, Keith, though.
Well, Jolly didn't know, or that he was giving a message to Mulder?
Jolly didn't know that he's actually not in Team LCR. He just saw the game tag, but well, okay. He knew where his place was. Anyway, back to the action.
Well, currently, lap 8 just started. Cyrilis, GC, Felipe, Clone Troop, Dralex, Boris, Sims. About to say Sims, KJ, not anymore. KJ passes Sims for P7. Great recovery drive so far on the Williams driver. LK 9th, 10th, Amaze now. 11th, John Pap, 12th, Astro, 13th, Tibor, who is getting very, very impatient with the LCR driver. Balder 14th, Johnny 15th, Crescito!
Hold it.
Ever holding. Oh no, so low.
Oh, as here comes Astro, the Europe champion, battling away with Tibor here. One of the champion elects, in my opinion, in future seasons as well as this one as well. He put up a really good fight there with the, of course, newly crowned Europe champion versus the Frenchman that always sort of has been there in the World Championship. This is what I love to see, though. It's like when we had that mixed race. I think it was it in season 4 when we put Europe and we put Pro and World together, and it just created a really good afternoon worth of action for commentary. Yeah. Oh, GC, he's got to run down towards the centre S's. Down the inside goes the Haas to take the lead back from BRL Syrah, and does. And people are pitting.
Look at there from GC. This is interestingly early from Boris and Sims. I mean, you can pit from anywhere from about lap 12-ish. I mean, I saw in ERC on Tuesday and Wednesday that people coming in about lap 12 to lap 13, go for nearly undercut. In fact, Sarah actually took part in ERC last week, on Tuesday, and didn't do very well. He was only representing for BRL, and, well, yeah, he just didn't go very well. The pace that GC is showing right now, he should have raced it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because BMG weren't exactly, well, I think it was Jan Paget's and VSR Logic who took part. That's why VSR driver races for BMG. And neither one did very well. Astro might have had an incident. Yeah, he's had an incident.
Yeah. Let's see what these two guys. So Syrah and GC don't pit. Despite the early pit stops we have seen from Sims and Boris, they try and get an undercut. But here comes Clone Troop. In fact, got very, very, very close. Just watch the gap plummet down that straight. But in the end, deciding to think better of it. But now I turn down towards turn 4. As he now gets 3 second time as well, it's not going to help his cause. As Amaze now gets up in a P7 on the comeback trail. Also, as well, I would like to say, talk about learning from your mistakes. And of course, I mentioned it before, but the USA, when he started bone dead last and summited up the field in the first 2 laps, where he'd done half the field and then ultimately had the incident with the 2 Mercedes and cost himself not only the position but also a qualifying ban for next week. KJ now seems to be a bit more calm. P6 after being right down at the back of the field, and is slowly creeping up to this little sort of battle that we've got going on for P3.
Yeah, it's slow progress, but it's progress nonetheless. And I think give it a couple more laps, it might actually be there. It seems to be struggling a little bit with his rear tyres and throttle at the moment. But Drix is now falling out of DRS and Clone Troops, so potentially KJ might be able to catch here. I think, to be honest, he's relishing in the challenge of climbing his way through the field. He's been really enjoying it, to be honest. He's actually in.
That's a good idea. That's in my opinion, that's a really good idea. Get an undercut because you can only then get closer.
I suppose it still feels a little bit early to me, but fair enough. He's going for it. It's going to come out in clean air. That's the question. Boris is through. I think Sims might be as well. No, he's in front of Sims. He should easily be. Yeah, he is. He's easily in front of Sims. So interesting. Very interesting here.
Yeah, people trying different things here as he comes out of the pits. Yeah, about 2.7 seconds behind Boris, so we've got that little bit of clean air to work with. That also does mean that Boris is going to be sort of with Dralex then if you think about it, because the gap was, what, about 3 seconds between Dralex and KJ, so it was about 2.9 between him.
Jesus made a mistake.
He has.
Sarah is buried up his arse completely. This is about to get very, very interesting game for the lead. Will GC come into the pits? Yes, he does. Sticks to the left-hand side. No, he does not, actually. It looked like he was going to. Playpen Master 2013-esque. On DLC, GC is Syrah. Oh! Were you on board with Syrah as well, then?
Well, I was actually in the helicopter cam.
I was on board with Syrah completely, and he almost went straight up, Korean up behind him. It could have been a monumental accident. The Mace picks up a penalty. As Felipe still has to fend off Clone Trooper from behind. Dralex is definitely like Duras now. There's no open getting back in it. John and LK seem to be pretty close as well. In fact, John actually has a miniature train right now of T-Ball, Mulder. Yeah, LK, T-Ball, and Mulder. And KJ's 2.5 seconds behind Boris.
I still do think when it comes to pitting, I think Boris is actually going to be in a really good position because the gap between between Dralex and KJ was about 3 seconds. And when KJ came out of the pits, it was about 3 seconds. But let's see if what happens on this time if they're going to come to the pits. Syrah comes in, GC does not. Undercut attempt for the Brazilian, and I have to say, I'd say smart driving, but you look at the gaps and he very much might come out in traffic here.
Potentially so. We'll have to see. Will he come out the back of the train? I've got hiccups, my apologies. It depends really if he comes out the back of the train or not. Gotta go. Is he going to be in front or behind Jolly? I think that's the thing we've got to look out for. Jolly makes a little mistake down at turn 1. These sequences are going to be mental. And Syrah is in front of the Torosso. So that's good news for Syrah.
Oh, Boris is off.
He's got. Sorry.
We had a shape-shifting barrier in turn 3, but he went completely wide. I don't know if he went for a move on Apex, and Apex only gave him the shove out, saying not there, and that's forced him to go off at turn 3.
Well, there goes Boris. At least I'm good. Okay, very annoyed about hiccups.
Take a sip of water.
I ain't got a drink.
Go get a drink then. That's what GC does. GC's in. He responds.
I've already got beer. Fine, grab a beer.
Felipe in, Clone Troop also in, so all 3 of them do come in. But Dralex today is out, so he will take the lead of the Brazilian Grand Prix as we've got his teammates in, as is John. Tibble will go up to 2nd. Where is Syrah in all of this? He's now gone towards the Center S's. Let's find where GC is on at the pit lane. He's now coming out. Where is Syrah coming through turn 2? It's going to be very, very close. Coming through turn 3 now. Of course, the outside might be slightly quicker on the pit exit. And he is in front and takes the lead on net. He's currently battling for P4 and has still got traffic ahead. Because even if LK pits 1.5 seconds in front of him, there's still Tibble. And I'm sure Tibble would like to give a bit of payback for the American Grand Prix, where he worked so hard for that pole and immediately got it slashed away by the Brazilian.
Yeah. The one thing we do not want here is an accident between Syrah and T-Bolt. It'll also be interesting to see whether Syrah can drop GC's DRS. It's also got LK in the way now. LK hopefully will come in this lap. We get a direct battle. Dralex comes in with the lead. Boris has just cleared Brad for P9.
Dralex is in.
Yeah, so we'll just see how Dralex comes out in relation to Boris and KJ.
Still got the hiccups.
Yeah.
Let's take a look, see where he is. Where is Boris? He is now coming down towards the first corners as KJ is trying to get past Brad as well at the moment. Giants now coming around turn 2. Boris is there. Clone Troop is just now about to come down the DRS straight right behind VSR Hydraulics. So Boris
has dropped it.
Reach, and
Boris has drawn Clone Troop.
He has actually. Yeah, he's done an overcut.
Yeah, the overcut has actually worked here. That's not something you see very often.
Make it work. Why not? Now we've got the interesting fight. GC is with BRL Syrah, and Tibor is only just under 2 seconds behind him.
Oh, I'll have to see. 1.6 behind T-Ball, and GC 4 tenths behind Syrah, but obviously DRS kind of helping on that front. Jolly's got Felipe behind. Just how long Jolly holds him up for. Like Jolly holds Felipe up for. Look at how long that'll be. Jolly and Clodric could get back up onto him. With Boris and KJ coming back. Give me a minute.
It's alright. Apex gets a free to Tommy. Meanwhile, Jolly has now been passed by Felipe. He's done a good job in P4 now. It's going to be 4v3 really. As the two Ferrari swap positions there. So Brad now down to 11th. Apex still in 10th. And also on the hards. The only man in the entire grid to opt for the hards. So there's a different strategy being pulled really by the man, of course, as we mentioned earlier. 99th LCR World Start. This could be very much last, he seems to predict. But now we've got the interesting concept here because Syrah is closing in on Tibor down towards turn 1. DRS open now for the Brazilian. Flying down towards turn 1. This should be a fairly easy move for him. Goes fast as well, 10.1. Pops it out to the inside. Tibor didn't really have an answer on 16 lap old mediums. And now, potentially, GC wants him to get a bit of move on here because it's slowly creeping away as BRL Syrah, and we slowly resume to business as usual. Down towards turn 4 and 5, just about there, everyone getting it fairly right. Hilcon now towards 6 and 7. As you can see, further down, Felipe still holding off by about 1.5 seconds. Clear of drivers. Of course, they have got a Toronto in the way in the Jolly currently on the P5. Of course, still yet to pit for his set of softs, as I think Sims was passed there by Amaze to get himself in the P12 now. And next up's the two Ferraris, but they've got a pit as John has absolutely lunged Sims out of nowhere. Did not see that move coming. The Greek is now into 13th position. A good see battle still happening. It is really down the pack outside the points. Now we've got the interesting concept. Here comes GC on Tibor. It should be an easy move for the Haas driver, heading now down towards turns 1 and 2. Can he get the move done and stuck? Yes, he can. So now GC is still within DRS range of Syrah as well, which is handy for him. Meanwhile, Dralex passes Jolly, and now Clone Troop, I'm sure he'll want to get a move on ahead of him. Heading now down towards turn 3. See if he can potentially look for a move. Still right. John is closing in on Dralex. He goes to the outside line here of the Canadian. He couldn't quite really have a chance to stick it. Still, Jolly is interfering in this battle.
Jolly's fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just come back. I was on board with Clone Troop, and I just see Jolly trying to make a move. I'm just a bit perplexed by that. Is he? A bit weird. We'll see LK puts the racing time penalty. Because our point of this race, the final race of the LCR Season 8 Championship. Syrah leads GC, T-Boy in 3rd, but yet stop. Felipe 4th, Dralex 5th, Clone Troop 6th, 7th Jolly, 8th Boris, 9th KJ, 10th obviously yet to pit his Apex, but Keys that's yet to pit.
Jolly's gone back.
As Jolly goes back at Clone Troop, Jolly gets the position back. Is Jolly battling for Boris?
I can
Help
tell you
Boris get
now,
onto them.
Boris Letterbox and Jolly are not friends. I can tell you that now, straight up.
Right,
Here goes
okay.
Clone Troop towards turn 4, and I think that might be the move signed, sealed, and delivered. No, this isn't 1980s once again, but now into P6 goes WR Clone Troop, and you imagine through the second sector he should be able to hold it. And now Boris is going to want to get past Jolly as well, because he's just seen that Clone Troop has become larger and larger ahead of him.
I think Drolix is probably the happiest of the situation, even though he's lost time to Felipe. Clone Troop's nowhere near him, and Boris is only just there. He's behind him, but he's not really in the overtaking place.
So it's interesting, the people that on net are in the top 3, none of them have any penalties so far. I think Syrah has picked up a warning at the very least. But it's just interesting to note that, yeah, this is actually really starting to become a battle for positions as Boris gets past, and as does KJ. So Jolly now down to 9th as he continues to fall down the order on that set of medium tyres that probably are feeling the effects sooner rather than later. Sims into 11th past the man that's still yet to pit in LCR Apex. Interesting that Brad Pitt, but he'd done a very large stint on his softs. He'd done like 18 laps.
Brad Pitt? When did he start racing?
What? Oh, I get it. Yeah, I get it.
Oh dear.
I didn't get that from
I am a terrible person, but I'm also great at the same time.
For those of you that didn't get it, last week at Abu Dhabi, Ben mentioned that Brad had got like a sort of Brad train going because there were so many people behind him. But Brad got confused with the accent and thought that my voice was actually Ben and Ben's voice was mine. So he added me on Twitter, but of course I was at work. So I didn't know anything about this until I suddenly get added on Twitter to find that he's added the wrong commentator.
Yeah. For people who don't know what the quote was, it was, we all thought the bullet train was a master of engineering, right now we've got Brad. It's one of those things where you just, It's a terrible quote, but it's also great at the same time. Mulder is doing the weave.
I think because Sims
Mulder is Sims and Mulder's just turning into a fish. Was he?
Yeah, I think at the centre S's, I think Sims let Mulder go. When you consider as well, there's 4-lap difference of tyres as well. And to be fair, I'm still not too sure, like you mentioned, about Boris and Sims, because that was a very early stop. There would have been 12 laps on them tyres. I know obviously the mediums can go a while around here, but that still doesn't put them in good stead because their tyres are going to really feel the effects. Like Boris is stuck in a heavy battle with KJ and Clone Troop at the minute. So his tyres are not going to be feeling any good by the end of lap 36.
Well, yeah, I mean, to bring us back to my official experience here, which was the DLC on Tuesday, Shazoo's Shadow pitted on lap 7 round here. His right rear at the end of the race was on 94%. These guys came in lap 8, if I'm right. Well, Boris came, sorry, lap 9. In fact, both of them lap 9, weren't they? So they're both going to be very, very tight in this race. I think they'll make it, but they could legitimately be in punch territory. What do you mean, Pete? Pete said, for God's sake, Ben. What did I do?
Probably
I was making a really terrible joke.
Probably the Ben thing about the Brad joke. So lap 22 of 36, the SOGC still keeping BRL Syrah just about for company. He's slowly beginning to eke that gap out ever so slightly, and I mean literally hundredths of a second per lap, as now we've got the medium runners beginning to pit, starting with ERL Tibor, who's done a very good stint on them, currently in P3, going to fall down the order. But if he can come out in a bit of clean air, those first few laps could really allow him to claw back some time and potentially put him in good stead for the last few laps to get himself some solid points, as Boris has passed Clone Troop as well.
Yeah, so Tibor is going to come out, I believe, just in front of Mulder, which is perfect, because he does not want to be in front of him at all. Sorry, behind him at all. Now, What's interesting here is the next car in front of him is Amazed. After that, it's 6 seconds to KJ. I think that the best T-Ball's going to get might only be Amazed.
Yeah, I think he's still got good opportunity. There's only 2 seconds between himself and Amaze, so and he's come out ahead of the Red Bulls, and I think that's quite crucial for him, really, because if he got stuck behind them, that would really put him in trouble, because they'd have probably worked together to try and fend him off for a few laps before his tyres began to feel the effects and the lap times level out ever so slightly. And now Clone Troop, interesting, we've got a fight here between Clone Troop and Boris, but given the fact that KJ's been ever so slightly mounting up in this race, would you feel that he'd feel like that he should be let through?
Well, potentially, but these two, the only time we've really, I don't think they're in the same party, nor do I think they really particularly know their circumstances right now. It's one of those things where KJ, he might be battling for points in the championship, however, realistically, he's going to stay 7th. I don't think he's going to... Sorry, I think... is he 7th? I'm not sure. I'll double check. But it's one of those things where I don't think... It's just one of those things where I don't think he's going to be let through. I think if he's going to have to he's going to have to pass Clone Troop, and I don't think Clone Troop's going to let him through.
So the gap now out to about 9/10 between Boris and Clone Troop. And I'll say the best time for KJ to attack his teammate is when they fall out of DRS. Meanwhile, someone has dropped in. I think it's John. Yes, it is. On the exit of turn 9, McLaren now have LK closing up right behind him. And I'm sure, I don't know if John has any damage. Oh, he's gone massively deep there. That does suggest that, yes, he probably has some sort of issue with that car. So he's going to fall down even further, which is a shame, as Tibble goes fastest 109.7 and is crucially ahead of Amaze now. So that's crucial for their championship fight, because if you look at it at the moment, so Amaze is going to score 2 points, yeah? If Tibble can get himself up into 5th where his teammate is, that would be 8 points difference. The yellow flags, because John has gone in the pits, thank goodness, so no sign of a safety car. And interestingly, Ben, we haven't had one yet.
Yeah, I'm not used to this. We had 3 in Abu Dhabi, 2 VSCs and 1 full. So I'm kind of waiting for it. Kind of slowly waiting for it now. GC again gaining in on Sarah, but still not able to make any impression. This battle, I think it's just going to stay the same for now, but I think this battle could get very intense very quickly.
Well, at the moment, VSR GC set to join the prestigious list of LCR World Podium Sitters, the likes of Xbox Nut Head, the likes of Xbox Nut Head, and the likes of Xbox Nut Head.
They're the only people that matter. Nobody else is important. Unfortunately, I've never had an LCR podium, at least not on this.
I was going to look, but I don't think he has. So I didn't want to mention it.
I never have. The best result I ever got in LCR was 5th. Season 4 Austria.
But I
finished a lap down. I finished a lap down to the race winner, which was Leopard.
I think I do remember commentating on that one. It's a long time ago.
Did you?
Yeah, because I commentated.
I know you commentated. I know you commentated season 4 Russia. I definitely know you did that one.
Of course, yeah, I remember that one. That, of course, on the LCR Vault on YouTube. Fancy giving it a watch. Cheeky plug.
Oh yeah, of course it is. Yeah. I rewatched that the other day. Actually, it's actually a very good race. I watched it before the Russian Grand Prix.
I mean, it's kind of mad, wasn't it? You know, the fact that
all I remember getting was blown up on lap 2.
Like, honestly, right, this is a genuine thing. I thought Fredster could have won the championship that season because you look at it, he won what? He won Bahrain, he won Russia, he looked hot in form, and it all just, Fredster happened.
Yeah, Fred became Fred. As we've seen in the LCRF2 season, which is now streamed, by the way, on the Twitch channel. If you've not seen it this season, then you're an idiot, because it's brilliant. Sarah's made a mistake. Sarah has made a mistake, and GC is now pounding on the pressure. Could it be? Is there a potential for I mean, there's quite a few drivers to win races in their debut seasons in LCR. I think there's 12 to win races in debut seasons. Might be more than that, probably in the 20s. We've had 41 winners in LCR, so potentially.
I mean, so Haas only ever recorded one ever LCR victory, and that came last season at USA.
By Jam Pancakes.
Jam Pancakes, yeah. But now here, with just about 9 laps to go, could we be looking at their second ever victory and make it 2 in 2 seasons, and crucially, make it right at the end when it was the only time that really has felt possible all season?
Well, the only other time they looked like a potential race winner was back in Australia with Jam Pancakes, ironically. And it looked like there was a potential chance for a race win then, but... well... could it be? Potentially?
Who would have dreamt of this?
I'd be interested in interviewing GTF Liz. Unfortunately, obviously, we don't do interviews here at LCR, but I would be interested in interviewing him. Just to see his thoughts on the race.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what he thought, because when you consider it every single week, I mean, he's had a cracking rivalry this season with Apex and Brad in the back of the field. But out of nowhere, he's suddenly come and said, you know what, this round rolls up his sleeves. I fancy taking on Syrah. It's the equivalent, right, of Gilbert,
well, he's taking
right,
on Syrah right now. I think he's going for the here he is. Oh!
So back to my wrestling analogy.
I'm going to use the best analogy ever. We're both going to use the wrestling analogy here. It's like what happens if you say you're Gilbert. Okay, I think we're both going to do the same problem here. Say you're Gilbert. You're one of your biggest jobber in the history of jobbers. And then you go, you know what? Stop this. I'm sick of being a jobber. Hang on a minute.
How's he done
my
that?
My analogy has to be stopped. Amazed just.
How have you done that? He's in the wall, he's out.
Oh.
He's crashed on the start-finish line.
Amazed.
That could be a safety car. I'm not being funny, but that could.
Not this game. Not this game. Nope. Told you. No safety car.
Still there.
So it's only when you want a safety car that you don't get it. It's only that leave straight away tends to trigger safety cars. I think GC also made a mistake. There you go. I think GC also made a mistake on his lap because he's fallen back behind Syrah. But back to my analogy of describing GC right now. It's basically Gilbert, but it's Gilbert who then decided, you know what, I'm going to grow up and I'm going to become Goldberg and I'm going to kill Bret Hart. It's basically the situation right here. I've remembered that Goldberg gave Bret Hart a legitimate concussion. And so that doesn't happen.
It's okay. It's okay. So now talking about, of course, the battle for third. Tybal's got some overtaking to do, but if he does get into fifth, that is P3 secured now because there's 0 points to be scored for Amaze. Of course, on count back, it would go to Amaze because he has a win this season. But yeah, so this battle for third.
That's still amazing that Tibal hasn't won a race this year.
Oh no, it's criminal, isn't it?
It's surprising as well that Felipe hasn't won either. Both of them haven't won. It's because of the Syrah that a lot of drivers this season have missed out on victories. Obviously, the only 4 race winners we've had this season are Syrah, Amaze, KJ, and Dralix in that order. And even Dralix had to wait till Italy to win a race. I mean, is it the least winning season? Is this season with the least race winners?
I mean, nah, surely season 4, Leopard, John Pat, Mulder, that was it, wasn't it? Oh no.
But Amaze not that one.
Fred?
Fred.
Yeah. 3 won, that was it. It was 3 winners all season.
I swear Mulder won. I thought Mulder won it. I thought Mulder won quite early in the season.
Don't remember. Anyway, there's 4 winners this season. That's all we
something to look up. Yeah. Something to look up in the history books.
Oh, Syrah's made a mistake. Here comes GC.
Hey,
outside line at turn 11. Massive squirmy moment there for the Renault driver. And the opportunity was there for the Haas. But if anything, it's just helped him keep within that opportunity range, heading on to lap 32. 5 laps left to go of the LCR Season 8. and probably for the first time all season, ERL Sira's in trouble, heading down towards turn 1. Where's he going to go? He goes defensive on the left-hand side, down towards the centre S's, around the outside.
Hit him!
Goes VSR GT, now coming up towards turn 2. Got the inside line advantage, and surely will get past. I don't know who's done DRS, I think it might be Sira. It is going to be Sira as the advantage of DRS, but down towards turn 4, I don't think he's got an answer because he's not close enough. And yes, for the first time in pretty much the entire medium stint, VSR GT once again leads the Brazilian Grand Prix.
GC's been sitting there waiting, but I don't think that's a good idea. He's now basically brought himself into a bad situation. He's going to have to now defend from Sira on the straights, and at the moment it seems like Sira's very quick on the straights compared to GC. GC does not seem that quick. So we'll have to see how this ends up at the end. This is looking like a very, very tight Grand Prix at the end of this race. Mulder picks up a 3-second time penalty.
I'll tell you what, whilst we've quickly got a moment, why don't you take a scroll through the penalties list and let us know what happened with regards to everyone.
Tell a little loads then. So GC currently sits on 2 warnings. One of them on the first lap, I think it was a collision. Yes, it was a collision with Sira, so I thought that's not actually a warning. Sira currently sits on 1 warning as well. So the first one's a collision. Felipe's also a collision, so he's only got 1 warning. But at the moment, not really looking like very much. Just actually, I got cut back here. Sira looking to the outside line. I was on board with Sira, so I know exactly when it was coming. Round the outside of turn 4, GC backs out of it, and Sira reclaims the race lead.
Well, now lap 33 goes to Sira, and you do wonder, are we going to see some go-karting style things here, swapping and changing from now to the end? Sira once again leads.
Middle fingers.
And once again,
all
is restored.
Boris, there we go.
Around the outside goes Clone up towards 6 and 7, and I think the Williams will get the move done. Yes, he will.
Tebo's reached these guys. Tebo is on the back of KJ, Boris and Clone Troop. The battle for third place in the championship is still very much on. Will Tebo make any rash moves? We've seen this with Tebo this season. If he gets to these type of places, he starts making rash overtakes. Some of them come off, some of them definitely don't. Round the white line.
And his tyres
are there, old Tebo.
Don't forget Boris, of course, on 24 lap old, battery 25 lap old.
That's probably why Clone Troop will buy so easily. Here comes Tebo. He'll sit in KJ will try to sit in Boris' slipstream. KJ moves over on him. These two came together last time out. Tebo on the inside line, mounts the inside curb, does not quite make the move. KJ shoves them out. They make more contact. These two have had one hell of a season together. There's been a lot of accidents together. They'll battle for the win in Italy, of course, before that all went to shambles. Tebo, lay on the brakes, gets the move done. Up in a P7. KJ will have to be forced to stay behind. Tebo now turns attention to Boris, whose tyres are about as raw as chicken you buy from your bakers. That works, butchers, not bakers. They make bread.
Yeah,
idiots.
I was going to say, it's not your local trip down to the bakers you want your local trip down to your butchers, because it might be about to butcher his team's hopes of a real strong finish here, because Tibor is keeping his teammate more than for company. He's kicked down the front door and said, hello, it's my time. But what about GC? He's closing up towards ERL Sira, down towards turn 1. He thought about an opportunity, couldn't quite. But now we'll quickly go on to the board, to the battle now between Tibor and Boris. I don't know if Boris has got much in the tank, really battle. Tibor's not even got DRS, so it should be a relatively easy move. But yeah, here comes GC, closing now down towards turn 4. Sira goes defensive, long way round for the Haas. Couldn't quite get past just yet, still can't quite get past. Meanwhile, the man that has got past, Tibor's now in the 6th. And what does he have to pull in order to get himself ahead?
Well, he just has to clear Clone Troop, who's just pulled out the DRS zone. T-Ball still seems very, very quick on these soft combat tyres, despite the fact they are 12 laps old. It's going to get very tight for the race lead going to the final lap. So T-Ball at the moment, I don't believe he has a penalty. I'm just going to double check this battle actually. Clone Troop does have a penalty. Clone Troop has a penalty. T-Ball does not. So right now, T-Ball is going to steal third in the championship away from Amaze. Thanks to Clone Troop's penalty. Cutting back up to the front of the field. GC going on to the final lap. Sira goes defensive. GC's still behind. He's going to have to make the move to turn 4, I think. Sira nails turn 1. GC mounts the inside curb. He's not quite able to get the run. I think this might be Sira's now to lose. Timo gaining on Clotru with P5, looking to the inside line. It's a pretty easy move, but ERL Timo, as he takes P5, and at the moment is on for third in the Drivers' Championship. I have to work the line out for a second then.
3 different teams
I think
in the
Cyril's done
top
this.
3 positions. You do get the feeling that Cyril might just about have done enough, and it could all have been BSR GC's own doing. He ultimately went for a move, and I think really that expended his opportunities because it allowed Cyril to just get back past and create that gap again, and he has to wait all that time. It's been a very long, patient wait. It's not going to be what you'd have anticipated on a podium, but it will see Haas get a podium this season. Not quite the race win, but it's business as usual.
Poor racing from Cyril. Poor racing from Cyril.
This could be an opportunity now, heading down towards the line. DRS wide open, I don't think he's going to get there. BRL Syrah once again wins, but by the narrowest of margins, takes his home race, and that surely is the icing on the Season 8 cake